something has to end. Something has to give, man. So I've been calling like Batman versus Bane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Listen, I guess neither of them won in the end, technically at the end of that movie. So that'd be like if the Bills won the Super Bowl.
Right. All the Giants from the division and go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's actually perfect.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is
be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode whatever the hell number it is. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is this is Hate Week. It's episode Hate Week. That's all it is, Aidan. I don't care about a number. You care about a number. The only number I care about is the goddamn score at the end of the goddamn game with the Cowboys number bigger than the Eagles number. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It does not get better from this in any perspective. From the show's perspective, to be 5-0, 4-1, playing each other, division on the line, it does not beat that. Like, you cannot beat this weekend in Philadelphia. Phillies playoff baseball, first time in over a decade. Eagles are undefeated, playing the Cowboys at home. Home Phillies Friday, home Phillies Saturday, home Eagles Sunday. You can't beat it. You just can't.
Are you going to make it to Sunday?
No, I barely made it. I barely made it in life, first of all, let alone from sports. So, no, I probably won't make it till Sunday. I texted my dad that after the Phillies game 1 in the NLDS, I was like, I don't think this is healthy. And he was like, that's funny. I was just saying the same thing to your mother. I was like, yeah, this is probably not good. So, no, I hope the Eagles win in my honor when I'm dead.
We'll be at the tailgate giving out free Delco cheesesteaks, and I'll just be like, if you do die, I mean, can you at least sign a waiver this week being like, if I die, they are allowed to bring my body to the tailgate?
Yes. I want a weekend at Bernie situation at the Eagles game where they tailgate with my limp corpse. And then I want to be incinerated. And then I want to be spread my ashes on the field if we win at the NFC Championship game that we will host.
We're going to make a protein shake with some of your ashes and give it to Jordan Davis before the game.
Yes. That is exactly how I would want to go. If I drafted him in our mock draft every single time, I want Jordan Davis to be drinking my ashes in his protein shake for extra good luck.
There might be 17 free cheesesteaks from Delco Steaks being handed out if that happens.
The way he folded that offensive lineman was so funny. It was just hilarious.
Just sit down. But you're right. I mean, the vibes are high on both ends. We've been saying it for 2 weeks. For the show, I mean, we were on just an electric show with Mike Tag live on the YouTube Tag Nation earlier this week. We apologize to Flipping the Birds. We usually always are on their show. This week we're supposed to be on, but things came up. So next Eagles game, we will be on. And we have a phenomenal guest in this show if you want to hit some technical notes before we get into the game.
Yeah, I think you cover him pretty well, but last but definitely not least, leading into our show tonight, we've got Jay Tuck. You probably know him from Cowboys Twitter or from YouTube as well. He's one of the biggest Cowboys content creators that there is, both Twitter and on YouTube, and draft content too. Mm-hmm. So we're really excited to have him on. I thought the conversation went in a way that I was actually really happy about because we were almost like bouncing, just like reflective thoughts of just how it goes, just trying to build a career out of this and build it around these games and how important it is and what you're trying to do when these games happen. So I thought it was pretty cool to have him on and talk about that stuff.
I think the word passion came out more than once, twice, or 3 times.
Yeah. And more than one way too, which is really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that was a phenomenal interview. Maybe we were supposed to have a roundtable with somebody from Philly, but like I said, Philly's scared. So you're 5-0, Aidan. So I will let you go. I'll let you go first, obviously, because you are technically first in the division. You are the home team for this game. You are flying so high with Philadelphia in general. Sixers also, I believe, 3-0 in the preseason. So I will let you start with your perspectives and keys to this game.
Okay, let's start here. What comes after the high? The come down which feels horrible, and you just feel like that. That is the worst feeling in the world, is the come down. I'm worried about talent-wise. I love the Eagles. Like, I love them in every matchup that they are in. You should beat a backup quarterback in Cooper Rush, even though he's undefeated. This is a team, they haven't played the best teams, and we honestly haven't played the best teams either. We got into that with Mike Tagg. The NFC East, or the NFC in general, is just down. It's helping us out. But now this could be proven so untrue by the time the game rolls around. The Phillies, by the time of this recording, by the time you see this, they could have lost 2 straight games. But in the current moment, everything is going right in the city. Eagles undefeated. Phillies playoffs. Tyrese Maxey hasn't missed a shot in 82 days. I'm very worried. The ultimate come down is losing in prime time to the Cowboys. There's nothing X's and O's I'm worried about if Mailata plays. If he doesn't, that's a whole different story. But I'm worried about the karma. We got too much good stuff happening here. That's not how it's supposed to go in Philadelphia.
So talk to me about Jordan Mailata. I know it sounded like he had a chance to even play last week. I guess he said that he escaped a very, very scary situation. It could have been a disaster. Had a chance to play, but then was rolled out. What are they saying for this game?
Here's 2 things. 1, here's a learning lesson. Don't dive for the quarterback on a
1.
2 things.
1.
My brain is going a mile a minute, and someone's gonna say, "Ooh, that's a dumb quote too." But those who get
you in concussion protocol right now, I don't know if you should.
I could be, man. I've been having headaches too. It's been nuts. Anyways, 2 things. 1, don't dive at the defender on a pick 6 when you're playing the Jaguars. You're gonna make it up, man. It's the Jaguars. Don't dive and get yourself hurt. 2, I saw he was a limited practice participant today, which is trending in the right direction. I hope last week was more precautionary, more than anything, where they were like, he's just not ready yet. He was warming up on the sideline against the Jaguars to come back into the game. So hopefully he is able to play. Hopefully he's close to 100% to deal with Micah Parsons, because really you have to be at 120%. And hopefully Landon Dickerson and Jason Kelce are all right too.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the key to this game, I think, all around. Both sides of the ball, both teams in the trenches. What did you say on Mike Tag's show earlier this week?
Growing up and maturing is realizing that winning in the trenches is how you win football games in the NFL. And this is going to be like an all-time trench game. I don't see this being a shootout like in any way. I just feel like it's like whoever – there's going to be some like 3rd and 2 where they just need to get it. And I know every team throws on 3rd and 2 now, but it just feels like there's going to be like a Zeke run or like a Patton and Eagles 8-minute drive where they just are pounding the other team and they're just running with Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell. That just kind of feels like this type of game where it's just going to be like, all right, mano a mano, which is how we should have it. NFC East football. That
is NFC East football. That's exactly what Mike McCarthy said in his post-game speech when they beat the Rams. He's like, defensive line, way to win in the trenches. Offense, way to pound the rock. Like he came out too and said that this is a defensive-led team with a run mentality on offense. Now, I know when Dak comes back, we'll see how that changes or not. But right now that is NFC East football. And that is how you win as the season goes along. The colder weather comes, the playoffs come.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's how you win the biggest games of your season, is because there's no – you have to win with the small details, which is literally what we talked about with the Cardinals. Like, the Cardinals are so bad at small details. That's why they lost that game. This comes down to it. Are you worried at all about Mike McCarthy? Big game, small details.
Yes and no. We are TikToks tonight going to be talking about power rankings and the top 3 coach of the year candidates as they stand right now. Speaking of Mike McCarthy, he has the arrow up for me right now this season. He seems like a different coach. He's a little more laid back, but he seems like he's doing the little things this year, the things that he didn't do in years past, calling the right timeouts, going for it on 4th down when he should, not going for it on 4th down when he shouldn't. So I can't trash on McCarthy right now. So if you were going to put a gun to my head and say, are the little things going to get done? Yeah. I mean, even the penalties have the last 2 games, they've been cleared up. They haven't been having double-digit penalties the last couple weeks. So, again, like you said earlier about Philadelphia, that could come crashing down and they could have 14 penalties for 137 yards this week. Could easily happen. So We'll see.
One quick thing. I was texting with my friend and we both said this. He said this one week and then I said it about somebody else the next week. You talking about going 4-on-4 when you should versus when you shouldn't. If John Harbaugh was our coach, I'd be dead. And I would like to add a name to that list. If Brandon Staley was my coach, I would be dead. Like there was no way I would survive.
Well, he sort of kind of is your coach.
Yes, but like the funner version. Yeah. He was Ted Lasso.
You being a Chargers lover.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wait till we get to the power rankings. I'm hooked. I'm so hooked. It's bad. It is so bad. I hate him though. It's not analytics. I can't. If they say analytics, I am so excited for this game. If they say the word analytics on the broadcast, I'm turning it off. I can't deal with it anymore. It's not analytics when you're just going for it to go for it.
Just play football. It's football.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say. That's what I hope. I feel like this is going to be a clean game, though. I really do. I feel like it's a game we're going to look up and be like, oh, my God, it's already halfway through the third quarter? When is that at? Because you're so locked in and there's like 3 penalties total. I really do.
Sunday Night Football, I love when it flies because I don't need to be the game ending at midnight and then I'm up till 1:30 listening to the post-game show.
Or you could record the post-game show with me afterwards yourself.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to do that.
I think so. I think that'd be very fun.
Yes.
One of us is going to be dead tired, a loser on the night, just wanting to go to bed, and the other's just going to have popping caffeine energy.
Pills.
Yeah. There's not enough in the world. No, you can't do those and watch one of those games where your heart racing like that. That can't be healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I think the matchups are pretty good for both teams. Like they match up well against each other. They're fun.
Yeah, it's like fun. Like CeeDee Lamb versus Darius Slay. Like that's fun. Lane Johnson versus DeMarcus Lawrence. Like to me, that's like the number one, like most relatable matchup in this rivalry is dog versus dog in the trenches. It's just a fun matchup.
It is. I mean, who's going to be able to run that spy on Jalen Hurts? Is it going to be a guy like Donovan Wilson? Is it going to be a guy like Anthony Barr? We know we're going to talk about it with Tuck, that Dallas Goedert is an issue for every team that Philly faces. How are the Cowboys going to match up against him? So there's just so many fun matchups. How are the Cowboys going to deal with Quez Watkins and his speed down the field? We saw, Trayvon Diggs, I think that Tutu Atwell catch down the field, he played it a little too conservative. He did have some catch-up speed to get there. He just kind of missed his hand swipe, but he allowed the catch. And that's something that Quez Watkins is going to challenge this defense, whether it be catching the ball down the field or getting a 47-yard pass interference.
Yeah.
How do you match up with
which he's done both. He's done both this year. You're right. So I do like that. I like those matchups a lot. Just my overarching point that I've been saying, I said it last week. I said it on Mike Tag Show. I'll say it again tonight. We are experts of the backup quarterback game. And there is a expiration date on backup quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. The time frame for Dak finally makes sense. We can stop with the charade. He's not playing this week. They were clear with it. Cooper Rush will play. I think we get in the fourth quarter and we have an instance where he struggles. He throws the back-breaking pick that ends it. And all of a sudden we said, all right, we're playing with house money. We're 4-2. We did a pretty darn good job with a backup quarterback to save our season. Not only save it, put us in a position to make the playoffs. We're getting our franchise guy back. That is how this time frame works. Not just with the Cowboys. This is how the life cycle of the NFL goes with backup quarterbacks. Trust me, I've been down this road many, many times.
And I mean, if you look at the progression through this season, right? He played against Tampa when Dak got hurt, but his first start was against Cincinnati. He threw for 235 and 1 touchdown. Not a bad day. Then he threw for 215 and 1 touchdown against the Giants. 223 and 2 touchdowns against Washington. And then it was the Rams, which they won. But he threw for 102 yards and no touchdowns. That's
getting there.
Is getting there. That's a fall off the cliff. A rating of 80.7. Like, that's just not going to get it done in Philadelphia.
It's getting real Big Ten football-esque over there.
Yeah, big time.
10 completions, relying on a defense, a safety off a block punt. Like, this is getting real Iowa Hawkeyes-ish, if you ask me. And I don't know. Like, some crazy stuff like that could happen in a game like this, but I think you're going to need a little bit more.
They always do. I mean, There's always crazy things that happen in this game, whether it's that awful. I mean, that was just that offensive pass interference that Dallas got. That was such blatant offensive pass interference. I'm so happy they called that. And then that time when Dallas, the Eagles did not recover that fumble on the kickoff. Like, things always play out the way they should play out in these games.
Those refs should be in a federal penitentiary, and we should bring back waterboarding. That's all I have to say about that game.
That was a phenomenal game. It's fun.
And there goes our chance for the YouTube algorithm.
And TikTok has removed us permanently. But yeah, I mean, the Iowa Hawkeyes reference is true. That's kind of how this team is looking right now. Hey, they're winning. Yes, this defense looks special, but at the same time, you can't rely on the defense time and time again. This offense is going to have to put up some yards. They did it against the Rams. They had some long drives in the second half to put the game away. But you always felt like, are the Rams still in this game until that Micah Parsons strip sack? But this offense, if they do anything not well recently, that they're going to have to do very well in this game, is convert on third downs. You have to get those 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 2s, and keep the drives going, keep the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands, and wear down that Eagles defense. Because if you don't put your defense out there time and time again, one, Jalen Hurts' legs are going to get you when you're worn down in the second half.
Absolutely. But I guess you could say the same for the Eagles. Like, the Cowboys could wear you down, and that would help Cooper Rush if you're effectively running the ball with Pollard, who had the big run in that game against the Rams to kind of settle things. And, like, if you're getting 5-6 yards a clip, that's where the Eagles could get in trouble. And that's what they can't allow to happen. And we've seen that before with Zeke on the road in Philly. I don't know. That guy just turns back the clock to Ohio State Zeke when he's here.
He does. So I agree. I think it's going to be a really fun night. It's going to be a electric atmosphere, of course. I still can't believe they're not wearing the All Blacks, though.
Yeah, well, come on. What was the point? Unless you're either bringing back the Kelly Cranes or you're going black. We're not wearing normal uniforms for this game.
It's just like, okay, you're waiting until week 12. You could have the division in hand by then, and then everyone's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't tip your cap too early or tip your hand too early or whatever, but I don't know. This feels like the game to do it.
Yeah,
but I feel like we always go green against it. I think we went black one time against the Cowboys and lost, and they were just like, all right, never again. Bad omen.
I think that was the funeral game.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Everyone's like, they're wearing black for the funeral, and then we lost.
That was the Zeke Hurdle game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So actually, great call. Don't wear the black uniforms.
Very smart. Very smart idea. Yeah. Just all white. We usually don't do predictions. Do you want to do a prediction?
I don't know. I think, what did I say? I think I said 24-20. I genuinely, I don't know if I have a score. I just have a feeling of how the game will go. Like I said, it'll fly. I don't want to say flawless execution, but executed well. And then Jalen Hurts is just slightly better than Cooper Rush in the end. And this is like, all right, time to bring Dak back. We're ready. Eagles 6-0 going into the bye. Bing, bang, boom. Done. This could be a great week. This is fun.
I honestly can't believe the Cowboys are 4-1 right now. So
I know, exactly.
If they go out of this
4-2, you're like, all right.
And then the Bears and then the Lions coming up, and then bye. Real legitimate chance to be 6-2 heading into the bye.
You would have taken that.
Lions game scares me. Oh, I would have taken that. My bag's somewhere here. I don't know. My wife might have thrown it away, but when I had the bag over my head, I absolutely would have taken 6-2 heading into the bye. So I agree. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be like that Sunday night game in Dallas a couple of years ago where you blinked and it was like 21-0. I don't think it's going to be like that either way. It could be one of those. If you're a Cowboys fan or just an NFL fan in general that loves nothing but high-flying offense, you might want to watch Dahmer Sunday night because I don't think that's what this is going to be.
Now, still good football.
Yes.
Listen, although those refs, if we're from that game you mentioned where they didn't call that offensive pass interference and gave that fumble to the Cowboys, if if we're deciding between who's a worse person on the planet who lived, they're way worse than Jeffrey Dahmer, to be honest with you.
Sure. That is true.
Yeah.
But you want to get into our conversation with Tuck, because we kind of dive into this game. We dive into a lot.
Yes, absolutely. So once again, on the show tonight, we have Jay Tuck. You know him from Twitter. You know him from YouTube. I actually didn't know until he told us, but he's huge on TikTok as well. So we should have compared notes on that. We get into just career path, just the interactions on Twitter, what it's like being a content creator, and just what you see on a day-to-day basis trying to provide content for the fan bases, where football coverage is going from here. And of course, the big game, Sunday Night Football, Eagles, Cowboys, Birds versus Boys. That's what the show is all about. We get into all of it, and it's presented by Delco Steaks.
All right, Aidan, very special Hate Week guest, a repeat guest on Birds vs. Boys, and we only bring back the best of the best. We've had a lot of guests in the 3 years we've been on, and we only bring back certain guests that do good things on the show, bring energy, bring the heat, and that's all that you do, J-Tuck, whether it's on your show, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitter, it's nothing but heat, and that's what you're going to do right after us with other Cowboys creators, other Eagles creators. So we had to have you on for Hate Week. What's going on, man? Welcome.
Hey, man, back. Thanks for having me back, guys. Man, like you said, I guess you can call it Hate Week. I've been calling it the Twitter Bowl, man, because it's all really about social media, but it's fun, man. There's a lot of back and forth going on with Cowboys fans, Eagles fans, the content creators. So it's going to be a fun Sunday night, man. But, a lot of talking, man. But it's going to be fun.
Wouldn't have it any other way. And honestly, from a content creator perspective, this is the best for us. 5-0, 4-1, early in the season, division on the line. We haven't had an instance like this in quite some time with our two teams.
No.
Yeah. And if you go back to week 1 when Dak went out with the thumb injury, we probably didn't think we were going to be here from a Cowboys perspective, man. So, to be 4-1, for you guys to be 5-0, it really adds a lot to the game on Sunday night. It's Sunday night. It's going to be in Philly at the Link. I know Eagles fans, they're losing sleep for it. So it's going to be, be interesting to see if we can break y'all streak at 5-0. Y'all can stop the Cooper Rush streak. So something has to end. Something has to give, man. So I've been calling like Batman versus Bane.
Oh yeah. Listen, I guess neither of them won in the end. Technically, at the end of that movie, so that'd be like if the Bills won the Super Bowl.
Right. All the Giants win the division and go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. Yeah, the end of the Dark Knight Rises is just pretty much the Giants win.
Right,
Giants.
New York City Rises.
Brian Davis.
Yeah.
So I do have one question. You actually said it perfectly with the Twitter Bowl. All of our guests this year, I've been starting out with this exact same question from whatever team they're from or whatever atmosphere they're from. You need to tell us your favorite thing about Cowboys Twitter and your least favorite thing about Cowboys Twitter.
Ooh, man. So I think the favorite thing, just the interaction, with the Cowboys fans. I really started in 2020 during the pandemic because we were all kind of locked in the house and had no one to talk to. So Cowboys Twitter was always kind of my outlet. Now I was always on Twitter, but I just wasn't as active. And so I just started talking to a lot of Cowboys fans. So that's the thing I love the most, man. It's just interacting day by day with Cowboys fans, but not only Cowboys fans, man. I even have a bunch of Eagles fans that are cool. I got some cool ones. So I definitely just love interacting with all football fans, just having a good conversation. The downside, man, it's always some pollution. There's always some noise. There's always some, hatred going on. Every day I wake up, I said that this morning, like this is some random guy like at 5 a.m. was like, Jay Tuck's this. And I was like, bro, why are you thinking about me this early in the morning? And I have no idea who these guys are. But, you really have to put into perspective and focus on the positives, not the negatives, because sometimes you do let those negative, experiences impact your overall conversation you have with people you want to enjoy. So, I just kind of learned to hey, don't let it drain me. Block them. I'm Captain Block, Sergi Blocka. I'll just block you and move on, man, because I don't want to be negative to, one of you guys who support me. I'm just bitter and chippy at you because some random Joe didn't piss me off, man. So that's, comes with the territory, but, I love it. I enjoy it, man. And I have a fun time.
Yeah, I do love that I've seen it a couple of times on your YouTube channel too, where people talk and you just write back. You're like, man, this channel just might not be for you.
Yeah. Well, see, it's different on YouTube, man, because I tell people on YouTube it's a little different because it kicks up the algorithm. So if you want to sit there and troll in the comments, as long as you watch that ad, man, that's all I care about. So people are trolling the comments. I'm like, hey, man, thanks for watching. Because
exactly.
If you're calling me an idiot of something I said at the 5-minute mark, you probably saw that ad, man. Say, hey, troll on, do everything you got to do, man. But on Twitter, it's really just all about the passion of being a football fan. It's really no compensation, no benefit. I've gone uber viral on Twitter and got not a dime. Actually, I went viral and made the least out of it, man. There was other YouTube channels getting like 300,000 views off of my tweet. Cut me on some of that. So, it's just all about the interaction. I enjoy interacting with all football fans, not only on Twitter, man, but Instagram, TikTok. Like, I have a huge following on Cowboys TikTok. I just don't know how to use it, to be honest with you. But Facebook, so it's just cool.
Yeah, TikTok. That's where we've kind of blown up a lot of our stuff, especially our power rankings. But it's the same thing. We get crushed, and it's like 13-year-old kids coming in the comments,
right?
Left hook, right hook. We jab back, and then we get shadow banned. We're like, what just happened?
It's a lot of kids. I just started TikTok because my daughter had one. I told her I can get more followers than you, and I just jumped her, and it's just like, all right, now what do I do with this?
Now what do I do with
it? Now you just have more accounts to deal with. That's why I find myself switching back and forth. All right, I got my Eagles content on Twitter. Now I got my NFL content on TikTok. It just never ends. But I do agree. Like, I love that interaction part. It led me, like, I was always like Cowboys fans, especially like in our area. I'm like, how are you a Cowboys fan in Pennsylvania? Like, I don't like you. And now, like, through social media, the positive side of it, I've met guys like you, and I'm like, all right, you guys aren't so bad. I can do a show with you, talk football.
And that's what it is. Like, a lot of teams and fan bases get bad raps because they think like, all Eagles fans are this and all Cowboys fans are that. But like, there's a different classes, I call them, in every fan base. And what I love the most, man, I always kind of preach this, is that we're the new media. Like, I'd rather come to Aidan and get my Eagles content versus some random Eagles reporter, because you live it, you bleed it, everything that's going on with your team. And the same thing when it comes to us as Cowboys fans. Like, as soon as there's a move made, we've already known about it. I mean, I get phone calls from, people in-house and everything. So we're on it because we're connected, because we love our team. So we are the new media. We are the new voice. And I think that people are starting to see it. Just, people who look to me as an inspiration, like I said, started in 2020, and then I'm doing all crazy stuff I never even thought I would be doing. Honestly, thought I would be done with it by now. But, just shows the power of the community and, where media is going in sports.
100%.
They want that like raw fan reaction for somebody who's literally like, it's an anxiety attack every fourth quarter that your team's in the game. Like, they want that. They don't want a show where a producer is telling the anchor what to say and what his opinion should be on a debate show, where this is raw. Like, you can't fake what we're doing. So it makes it just 10 times better.
Exactly. It's all passion, man. Passion was guiding everything. There's no notes, no nothing, man. You can call me at 4 a.m. Like, let's go on the show. I'll wake up and boom, let's get to it. So,
I mean, that's exactly what you're doing right now. You're hopping on with us and you're rolling to go live on YouTube. Exactly. Much appreciated. It's the best. All right, Aidan, since Tuck and I are obviously on the same side, we had a content creator coming on from Philly. He's scared. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go at Tuck just a little bit. You go. Ask the questions. What are you scared of? I know what you're scared of. It's 11, but it's all right.
All right, that's actually where I was going to go. So Micah Parsons, beast. He's from my hometown. I'm always going to love him. I hate that I have to root against him this week. He is a force. If Jordan Mailata doesn't play, I'm very concerned. But who's that other guy on the defensive line you think that could step up on Sunday night? Because we've seen it, like DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong. All of these guys have had like their heroism moment this year. Who's the guy this week that could help out?
Yeah, I think it's the first guy that you mentioned was DeMarcus Lawrence, because you go back to, week 3 last year. DeMarcus Lawrence was out that game when Philly and Cowboys played in Dallas. So, you really haven't got that impact. And thus far, man, DeMarcus Lawrence is off to a great start due to that line of Micah Parsons. A lot of focus is going his way. So you're getting one-on-one with a veteran pass rusher. And I think that DeMarcus Lawrence really took it personal this year. Like, hey, I'm still somebody too. Like, don't forget about me. And so he's starting to rev things up a little bit as well. So he's playing at a great rate already. He had the return fumble on Sunday and just playing lights out. So yeah, he's just showing what he was capable and why we signed him. And then also on the other side, you have Dorrance Armstrong. Guys kind of came out of nowhere. A lot of Cowboys fans, self-included, we were kind of tied to Randy Gregory because that was always the other guy, right? But they moved on from him. And Dorrance Armstrong has stepped in and filled that void, if not even more. I mean, even on special teams from that aspect, man. So there's a lot of different, players that Dan Quinn is using when it comes to this rotation to get this pass rush, which makes his defense so spectacular because we're not blitzing a lot. A lot of that pressure that we're getting on Carson Wentz and, on Matt Stafford and Joe Burrow, it's just rushing with 4. And so once you can rush with 4, it allows you to do a lot of things with the secondary. So Dan Quinn is able to have fun with his defense, and it's a kudos to him, but also a testament to the players.
I love that you
Mike
said that
Nolan
too.
didn't do it.
Yeah, hell no. I don't know if you remember Mike Nolan. I'll never forget that first game they played against the Rams. They panned to him in the booth, and he was literally like sitting in the booth with his feet up like this with his play call. I go, how is my man calling a defense right now?
Hey, man, I said Mike McCarthy's a good friend to have, man, because he puts all his homeboys on for a job.
Come on in.
I remember the Mike Nolan hot sauce in the eye thing. I'm just like, dear
God, God.
God.
I love that you bring up the defensive line and how they rotate too, because I don't know if I talked to Mike Tagg about this with Aidan on his show this week. I don't know if you noticed, but against the Rams last week, Dorrance had the strip sack fumble start the game. And then the next drive, it was a completely different defensive line. And then the third drive, they started mixing and matching, and they mix and match more. When you can rotate in and you have depth like that on a defensive line, I don't care what the offensive line is. As the game keeps going on, you're just going to make mismatches all game long.
Right. I mean, another guy you can toss in there's Dante Fowler, who brought in from Atlanta. I mean, he's off to a great start. So like you said, man, you get Tristan Hill, you get a little bit of Osa. I think Quentin Bohanna is going to be back. Yeah, Sam Williams, the rookie. So you got a lot of guys you're tossing out there, keeping bodies fresh that can keep things going as far as the momentum in the pass rush. So like I said, that's a testament to Dan Quinn because he knew what he wanted. Like when we watched that video of him at Sam Williams Pro Day at Ole Miss, like Dan Quinn's eyes just lit up. And that's why I dropped the draft because like Dan Quinn wants this kid, man. Like he was just like he found a puppy or something, you know? So, Dan Quinn knows what he wants and what type of defense he's trying to build. And those are the type of guys he brought in. And you're seeing different attitude, swagger, especially at the safety position with their, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, and Jaron Kearse, that 3-headed monster. So you got to be excited about this defense if you're a Cowboys fan.
So not as excited over here.
But you had it. You've had it so many good defenses in Philly, man. It's our turn to kind of have one.
Right.
We have a defense police. I didn't know what a turnover was for 6 years.
Right. Yeah.
I think we were talking about it. I think it was honestly off air that we were saying it. Like part of just winning, part of it is just luck. And I feel like our luck, this is the point where we haven't had it, where we have 3 injuries on the offensive line. And now we face, like you guys said, like there's a certain swagger to this defense right now. So I'm like, well, I don't love this timing. Like this luck made it rain out for us this time.
Yeah, it happens. Man, it's a long season though. That's what a lot of people got to understand. Even though we're just in week 5, there's a lot of football left to be played, man. So injuries are going to play a huge part of it. Who can kind of just maintain? But I'm loving what I'm seeing from the NFC East. Everyone used to call us the NFC least. I never really bought into that because I always said the NFC East was the most talented team or talented division. We're just dysfunctional. Like you might get a Eagles team that can go out there and blow out the Rams, and they might lose to the Jaguars. The same with the Cowboys. Like we can come out and beat the Chiefs and then lose to the damn Jets. Like it's just dysfunction when it comes to the NFC East. But there's always been a talent pool from top to bottom.
Yeah, and
we've always beaten up on each other too.
Right.
There's been no repeat champion, which I guess favors us this year, or the Giants. Scott wins in the end. But yeah, it's just like we kind of just beat up on each other. That happens in SEC football all the time, where it's like, all right, that team probably would have been 11-1 somewhere else in the Pac-12, but now, they just beat up on each other. So, but that makes them fun. Like these rivalries are the best in the sport, I think.
Yeah, it does. It does because you never know what you're going to get. Like, even though you can kind of look at the roster and say, okay, well, Philly got a nice roster, made some additions this offseason. You just never know in the NFC East, man, because we've been in that situation so many times when we look on paper, start of the season, like, yo, this is going to be it. And then all of a sudden, we're just like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this? Like, this is not what we signed up for. And so that's just the fun any given Sunday, and especially in the NFC East. So we'll see what happens.
I have lived that life many times in Philadelphia sports, not just football, where I'm like, on paper we look awesome, and then 3 weeks later I'm like, what the hell happened? This is not
the team I signed up for.
Right, because it's like we get the schedule release, and I always do like the schedule release show, and everyone's all excited, and I'm just like, Jets. I'll mark that as a loss. Like he's always got to put a few F-up games for the Cowboys. And last year was Denver, right? Just the Denver game. We also been like, what the hell was that? So, there's been numerous games. I remember was that 2019 we lost to the Jets when Sam Darnold came back from mono. It's just stupid stuff, just like, all right, you got to kind of put those in there. But for the most part, man, I like what I see top to bottom in the NFC East.
Yeah, I do too. So in this game, obviously, Eagles went out and they got A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith can tear it up. Quez Watkins is a burner. But, Aidan, I don't know if you agree with me. I think the offense is running through Dallas Goedert. He is the security blanket. He is where Jalen Hurts is going to go on third downs. They run those screens to him every time he's on the left-hand side, and it's just like he's in, he peels out, and it's kind of not stopping him. So do you think this is a J-Ron curse assignment like he did last year on all the big tight ends?
Yeah, I think this is for J-Ron. I think I agree with you. I think that Dallas Goedert is the real engine of this offense. I know A.J. Brown was kind of the new guy that's been brought in, but that's the safety blanket. He's in the middle. That's where Jalen Hurts really likes to focus, and he's the guy that's most dynamic when it comes to the Eagles. I mean, luckily, they got rid of Hurts too. So, you don't have to deal with two of them, just one of them from this capacity. But I feel like, yeah, you'll see a lot of big nickel, probably with J-Ron curse on Dallas Goedert. But you're also going to have to keep a spy on Jalen Hurts as well. And last year, it was Jalen Smith who kind of spied Jalen Hurts. And we all know Jalen Smith's a little bit limited, even though he's doing well in New York. Salute to Jalen. But, this year, I think we're going to have, some different guys. Maybe it's going to be Jabril Cox. You might have Anthony Barr. Some of those guys kind of really spy Jalen Hurts to make sure he's being maintained in the pocket to make him be a full quarterback on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's like that overcorrection in football, right? So like A.J. Brown comes in, he's a beast week one. He was just broadcasted as this wide receiver one, featured as a wide receiver one. So other teams just put all of their focus into him. And now they're trying to make Jalen Hurts beat them with his arm. They're like the Cardinals blitzed a lot. They brought a lot of pressure. So he's getting the ball out quick, which leads to Dallas Goedert. And like you guys know that too. Like beginning of the season, all right, Amari Cooper's traded, Michael Gallup's hurt, James Washington's hurt. So it's like all the focus is on CeeDee Lamb. And that started to open up after a few weeks. And now Gallup's back too, where it's like, all right, there's a little bit less pressure on the other receiver. So it's just like that kind of just, shift in sports and in football that happens, which is kind of cool to see, which leads to the matchups that we have this week.
Yeah, all about matchups, man. You just never know, So, and I think from a Kellen Moore standpoint, he's been leaning towards matchups, but now with Dak out and having Cooper Rush as a quarterback, it's kind of limited that approach. So that's why you're seeing the run game actually evolve. I know a lot of Cowboys fans been waiting on that moment just to kind of become more balanced and run the ball more with Zeke and Tony Pollard. And thus far, it's held us in the into the season. And it's funny because I said this on Twitter today. I feel like the Eagles and the Cowboys have really role reversed like this year. Like now we're the team that has a question mark at the quarterback, until Dak comes back. And so until then, we just got to play the safe, just move the chains type football. Just don't turn over the ball, run the ball, slow down the game, and rely on our defense and put it on their tab. Versus now the Eagles, they have the three wide receivers. They got speed, and they got Dallas Goedert, and they got their quarterback of the future. Like their offense is supposed to be the focal point. Now we haven't seen it. We've seen some explosions from Philly in second quarters, but then it kind of phases out a little bit. So like I said, it's going to be interesting. If I'm Dan Quinn, I'm definitely getting up and playing aggressive on Philly's wide receivers, because when you watch film on Jalen Hurts, he's one read or he's running. It's kind of like Madden, because if you played Madden this year, you pretty much threw the ball, you were throwing an interception, he just took off and run. I feel like that's how Jalen Hurts' approach is thus far. It's kind of his first read. If he comes off his first read, he's taking off, and you can't allow him to take off. So get up, be aggressive, and take away those quick throws and those screen passes.
Agreed.
I totally agree. I think Arizona kind of honed in on that. So they went down 14-0, and we kind of got whatever we want. And A.J. Brown had 3 receptions in the first drive, and it wasn't like these little screens that we were doing. And then all of a sudden they picked up that pressure, which I think Dan Quinn's going to do. And then all of a sudden it was like, all right, these extended handoffs where we're not running it, but we're running screens at Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. So I think we got to see how we counter that, because I don't think we can do a whole nother week of that with a better defense, a faster defense in the Cowboys. So that's where I'm looking. Like you said, like we've had these bursts, but we haven't had to really play full 4 quarters of offensive football. So that's where I think it'll be most exciting, where you're just going to see dogs, like we have skill position dogs, and you guys just have dogs on the front 7, really.
Going to be a dog fight. It was funny because both fan bases, like, we can't go into Sunday night with the offense approach that we had last Sunday, because it sounds like Cooper Rush is going to get the nod. I'm just like, I can't have Rams Cooper Rush. I just don't think we can beat Philly that way. Give me the Vikings Cooper Rush, maybe the Bengals, and then we can be okay. We can talk a little bit. But if that 106 yards, Cooper Rush is I don't know.
10 completions. Yeah.
Like I said, put Dak out there left-handed, man. We can see what happens. We'll see.
You think the offensive game plan, also the way that the defensive line is built for Philly, this is going to be heavy snap load for 21 in this game because of pass pro?
Yeah, I think so. You're gonna need him out there in pass pro, and we saw it evident more than versus the Rams. Like, we love Tony Pollard, explosive. Tony Pollard's actually saved our season. I tell people, go back to Cincinnati. If he doesn't break that big play, we might lose that game. Sunday he doesn't break, we might lose that game. So I love Tony Pollard, but pass pro just ain't his thing, man. And you can't put Cooper Rush in those situations, because thank God Cooper Rush hit onto the ball with Aaron Donald jumping off his back and Jalen Ramsey blowing his ribs up. Like, kudos to him. But you need Ezekiel Elliott out there for pass pro, but also Zeke is the nail. Like, Zeke kind of wears you out. And like I've been saying on Twitter, where I want to see them use Zeke, it's like we did see on Sunday. It's kind of like that wild thing from the movie Major League. Like, when it's time to get up out of here with the win, we're on the road. Like, just give it to Zeke a few times, wear the defense down, and get the hell up out of here, keep the clock moving. And so it seems like Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore are leaning towards that approach, but you just never know.
You never know.
Kevin is the biggest Tony Pollard supporter in the world. So for you to say he saved not one, but two of your games this year, I'm surprised there's not tears of joy streaming down his face.
My heart is just fluttering.
Well, I feel like the Cowboys are kind of putting a little leash on Tony Pollard, because we can't let him go too crazy, because we have to sign him this offseason. Yep. So it's like, all right, we'll see a little sprinkles here and there, but if it is going to be Zeke's last season in Dallas, I'm just get every last dime, every carry out of him, run the tread off and then move on. But I think Tony Pollard is the running back of the future, but he has to be a lot better in pass pro.
100%. All right. We have to get you out of here, obviously, because you have a show to do. But so we have a new sponsor this season, and it's called Delco Steaks. Amazing cheesesteaks in Philadelphia.
Okay.
We're actually doing a live tailgate, giving out free cheesesteaks. All the Philly fans are going to be hating on me. So Delco Steaks gives out a free cheesesteak per sack every game that Philly gets. So how many times is Cooper Rush going to get sacked in this game? How many free cheesesteaks are going out?
2.
All right. I hope none, but I'll go with 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope y'all starve to death out there, man. But I can see, too, because like I said, the strength of the Eagles defense is their front line, offensive line. They brought in Reddick from Carolina, who isn't Micah Parsons, but he's good, so he's a decent ad. You also got Kaiser White. So you got some guys out there who can get pressure. Also Jordan Davis is playing great from a rookie standpoint. So they got some guys who can get pressure, but it's going to be interesting, because the left guard position, like Jason Peters kind of said something that kind of lit Eagles fans fire a little bit, like, you should just cut it right there, Jason. Like, you just call them effing idiots and it's been done and just walked away from the podium. But it's gonna be interesting to see if he plays on Sunday as well, because Connor McGovern, I'm just still not a fan. Tyler Biadasz still struggles a little bit. So I think if Philly's gonna get pressure, it's gonna be in the A gap and the B gaps right in the middle. And then I think that Tyler Smith learned his lesson. Like I said, Tyler Smith as a rookie, you went to the boss level, bro. Like, that's it. There's no higher level, because the other higher level is on your team. So you don't have to deal with anybody else. But dealing with Aaron Donald as an NFL rookie, they don't get no higher than that. So hopefully he got, on the job training last Sunday, and will adapt when he's battling, on the trenches with Sweat and Reddick as well. So
I love that, Hassan. Was that a little dig at a content creator there when you're like, he's not Micah Parsons? Because I saw on Twitter last week, we got one.
I mean, listen,
we got one.
We love our players and we love our team. But sometimes we just gotta be realistic. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, what? We do have a responsibility to Cowboys fans to like be not compromise, and like, so a lot of Cowboys fans, to be honest with you, they was mad at me on Twitter. I was like, oh man, the Eagles had a great draft. Tuck, how could you? I'm like, God damn, well, I literally did an entire draft breakdown all off season, breaking down these players, talking about how it'd be great if the Cowboys can get them, like Kyron Johnson. Like, I love Kyron Johnson, scouting him out of here, the University of Kansas. I can't delete all those tweets now. It's too late. The videos, everything's already up.
They're all out.
I can't backtrack. So, I get it, but sometimes you just gotta be realistic. But it's hate week, I guess, and so everybody on the Eagles is better than everyone on the Cowboys. We'll sell it on Sunday for the Twitter Bowl.
I was right there. I was sending Tuck tweets at 3:30 in the morning holding my baby as she slept doing mock drafts.
Yeah, man. Like I love, but that's another thing going back to the passion, man. Like, when it comes to draft season, I scouted like over like 250 prospects, and that's just me. I don't have a team or anything like that. It's because I was so pissed at what happened versus in the playoffs. I was trying like, all right, who was going to help this damn team? Like, I dove in the draft stuff probably like 2 days after that San Francisco game was already on it. So that's how I found Jalen Tolbert so early, and Sky Moore and some of those guys, because I was already locked and loaded. And this year is going to be even more fun because it's in my own backyard in Kansas City. So hopefully get more interviews to the radio and go to the combine and really get up and close and personal for a lot of people for the content. And that's where a lot of the NFL fans really embrace my content, is when it comes to draft time. So
Amen.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's tell everybody where they can follow you, how they can watch you, so we can get you out of here.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man, for having me on, guys, man. Best of luck. Like I said, next year, I didn't come out to Philly, man. It's like I hear horror stories, and I know I'm gonna have a target on my back, but it'll probably be fun. Yeah, you can follow me on all social media platforms. JTuck151. It's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. JTuck151. My YouTube channel is CFO Sports, so come on by. We talk all draft content, Cowboys content. I actually cover the Kansas Jayhawks football team, so I do a lot of stuff there in-house. I'll cover the NFL draft. And then also, if you're a Cowboys fan or a Cowboys fan, Christmas is coming up, CFOsportstalk.com to get your merch. Use the code CFOGAIN to get 10% off. Everything that you guys purchase goes right back into the channel to build the content to make it better. So appreciate you guys for having me on.
Awesome talk.
Anytime. Best of luck this week, but not too much.
All right, go Cowboys, man. Like I said, no cheesesteaks on Sunday. Sorry.
Pure electricity right there with J Tuck.
I wanted fans this week. I didn't want journalists who are like, well, here are the X's and O's. Here's what to watch. No, I want raw, unfiltered, uncut fandom bleeding through, which is what we got. I thought that was awesome. I thought we touched a number of different subjects that, sometimes the interview goes a different way in a good way.
Yep, absolutely.
We've been very fortunate where interviews aren't going another way in a bad way.
Yes.
I don't know how to react, but we've been blessed with some pretty good guests, just like Jake. Yeah. So I'm very thankful.
And we will continue as the season goes along with more and more. So
hell yeah.
Another guest that we always like to bring in is producer Vince. So he can hop in here because we have 2 TikToks tonight, correct, Aidan?
That is correct. We're going 2 every night. And Vince is the guy looking at the TV tonight. I had to leave mine off. I'd be in a ball on the floor by now if I was having to do this and watch the Phillies game. All right.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'll say nothing.
All right. Yeah, don't give it away. All right. We're doing 2 TikToks tonight. One is old reliable bread and butter. It is power rankings, top 5 teams in the NFL right now. And then the other one, let's talk coach of the year. There might be some candidates in the NFC, so we're going to do top 3 coach of the year candidates right now. You guys ready to get it going?
Let's do it.
Cool. All right. So at 5, I have completed a cycle and I'm ready to start again. I have the Chargers. This is the worst. I am so addicted, and they won. They beat the Browns. That was the dumbest 4th and 3 call I've ever seen. Why do I do this to myself? They're going to lose this week now. At 5, I have the Chargers.
5 for me. I'm going to do it just because I have to do it and because I want TikTok to yell at me. I have the New York Giants 4-1 on the season. Their only one loss is to Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys. They go and beat Aaron Rodgers in London in the Packers' first ever game outside of the United States. Brian Dable was fired up. New York Giants and that amazing quarterback Daniel Jones at 5.
At 5, I have the Bucks. I said it and it came true. Tom Brady got more mad because Antonio Brown is an absolute psycho. And I said it was going to happen. They won their first game on this tear. They might not lose again the rest of the year.
All right. At 4, I have the Ravens. I know they're only 3-2. I think that was a good win over the Bengals, even though they have a losing record right now. They should have beat the Dolphins. They should have beat the Bills. I don't trust John Harbaugh. I'd love to know from Ravens fans, do you still trust this guy? Because I don't. The defense isn't great, but they're figuring things out on offense. So at 4, I have the Ravens.
4, I have another 4-1 NFC East team. The only team to beat the number 5 team. It's the Dallas Cowboys. This defense is legit. this defense could be top 2, top 3, maybe top 1 defense when it comes down to it in the end of this season. Cooper Rush is getting it done. They're going to get their franchise quarterback back. We'll see how it goes Sunday night in Philadelphia. But for right now, number 4, Dallas Cowboys.
At 4, I also have the Ravens. They're like they're kind of an okay team. Like you said, John Harbaugh, he's on the hot seat every like 5 years. Are we coming around again? Who knows? Lamar Jackson, one of the best players in the league. They're overperforming where they shouldn't be. And they're just a hard team to gauge, but also a hard team to not have in the top 5.
There. At 3, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles, undefeated, 5-0, huge test this week. I'm excited, as you can tell. This will be a great game. I am so excited for them. I think, listen, the 2 teams that I have ahead of them, I've been keeping ahead of them just based off, eye test, things like that. Win this week, I might just bump them up.
3 for me. Let's keep it rolling here. NFC East. I have the Philadelphia Eagles, the only undefeated team in the NFL. They had a little scary couple moments there in Arizona in the desert. But again, Aidan, when adversity came, they found a way to figure it out to win the game. They're still undefeated. Don't think they're the best team in the league, even though they're undefeated, but they deserve to be in this list. Eagles at 3.
I have the Chiefs.
Yep. I love that we keep doing that with the Chiefs. We're just like, yeah, we have them. There's nothing new to report.
Yep.
They're still good.
They're still good. All right. At 2, I have the Chiefs. I don't know if I have much more to report. Did anyone expect anything different when they went down 17-0 and got that personal foul roughing the passer on a strip sack? Like, you just knew that they were going to turn into some monster, and they did because they're the Chiefs. So at 2, I have the Chiefs.
At 2, I'm here. I don't know if you saw that. Patrick Mahomes, he's still here. It's the Chiefs. They're here. I don't have much else to report. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. I got nothing else.
2, I have the Bills. They just hung. I forget how many points. They destroyed the Steelers, and Kenny Pickett, Rookie of the Year. George Pickens, Rookie of the Year. They beat both Rookies of the Year in one game by like 1 million. I don't think the Steelers scored a touchdown. The Bills are doing the thing where they win by a lot.
Yeah, so at 1, I have the Bills as well because, like you said, they're doing that thing where they just beat teams by 1 billion. Good teams obliterate bad teams. That's what they're doing to everybody on their schedule. And obviously, it was impressive to come back on the road against the Ravens, too. So, at 1, right now, it's the Bills.
1 for me, continuing to be, along with Aidan, it's the Bills. There's no other team we can put at 1. Obviously, Eddie's going to, but that's just not right. The Bills are doing what the Bills set out to do week 1 and what I said they were. They are a wagon. They're beating teams by 1 zillion right now, and I think they're just going to continue to roll, and I cannot wait to see that matchup this week against the Chiefs. I cannot believe we have Bills, Chiefs, and Cowboys, Eagles in one NFL weekend.
At 1, I have the Giants. They just beat Aaron Rodgers, who might be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, in London, went overseas, beat 12. Their only loss this year is to maybe the best quarterback of all time in Cooper Rush. So you can't fault them for that one. This team is just on a roll.
Those are the power rankings this week. I thought about it while we were doing it, and I'm glad you brought it up, Kevin. It could change next week because the Chiefs and the Bills are playing each other. Mm-hmm. Or they could play a game like last year, and I would just put them both at 1 next week. Yeah.
1 and 1A.
1 and 1A, yeah. And everybody else is
the Eagles.
I'm not putting anyone above 6 if they play like they did last year. It'll be 1 and 1A, and then we start at 6.
We could do it like golf and just have like 4 1s and then a 5.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going to have to do.
Yep.
All right, let's switch gears to our other TikTok. We've got our potential top 3 coaches of the year. Are you guys ready for this one?
100%. Top 3.
Perfect. All right, top 3. So at 32, I have Ron Rivera. If you're a defensive coach, your problem probably isn't the quarterback. If your defense is 27th in passing yards allowed. If your offensive line is missing 3 people and you never re-signed anybody to replace Brandon Scherf, and you get your quarterback sacked 9 times, it probably isn't the quarterback. If Jack Del Rio is on his 5th job where he's going to get fired as defensive coordinator, the problem probably isn't the quarterback. At 32, I have Ron Rivera. At 3, I have Mike McCarthy. I think everything was looking bad for the Cowboys. And then, listen, you got to give him credit where credit's due. Kevin brought it up in the show. A lot less mistakes, and they're doing it with a backup quarterback. At 3, I have Mike McCarthy, 29 spots ahead of Ron Rivera.
3 for me. I also have Mike McCarthy sitting there. I've not been the biggest Mike McCarthy fan since he signed in Dallas. He made a lot of mistakes, but got to give credit where credit is due. We thought the season was gloom and doom. Season was over after the Tampa game. They've reared off 4 straight wins with a backup quarterback in Cooper Rush. He seems like he has the locker room. He seems like he knows what he's doing this year. It's a little confusing, but we have to have him there at 3.
At 3, I have Ron Rivera. He's finally a coach that realizes Carson Wentz is the problem. It only took him 4 or 5 weeks. Every other coach took at least a whole year. It took Philly 5 years. So it took Ron Rivera 5 weeks, but it took Philly 5 years to do. So at 3, I have Ron Rivera.
Yeah, he's the problem. All right. At 2, I have Nick Sirianni. I say this with a lot of awards. It's usually like best player, best team. So you got to say head coach of the best team right now. He's got to be in there, got to be getting credit. I love Ted Lasso without the British accent. 2, Nick Sirianni.
2 for me. Staying in the NFC East as well, Nick Sirianni. What he's done with this team, not only on the field, but I think the vibes that he's created with this team off the field is amazing. I loved his performance on Pat McAfee's show as well. So that gave him even more kind of vibe credit. And hey, they're undefeated. They look good. Even when they face adversity, they still find ways to win. And that comes down to coaching sometimes. So number 2, Nick Sirianni.
Number 2, I have Brian Dable. He's making Daniel Jones look like a superstar. Despite everything I said in the last TikTok, this team should not be this good. He's making Daniel Jones look like a winner. The Giants have more wins than they've had in the last 12 years. He may have finally broken the Miami curse.
At 1, I have Brian Dable. To be 4-1 with this roster, you'd think it'd be the other way, flipped 1-4. I don't know a name of a single receiver they're throwing out there that's not Darius Slayton with the injuries that they have. They don't have a franchise quarterback. They're relying on Saquon to do everything, and yet still they're 4-1 with an impressive win over the Packers. And it's clear that these guys have bought in. He's always fired up. I think he's going to be a phenomenal coach, and this team's only going to get better in the years to come. At 1, Brian Dable, Coach of the Year.
1 for me, it's Brian Dable. Winning 4 games in 5 with this team, having no receivers like Aidan said, throwing Jalen Smith out there on defense, and winning big games against Aaron Rodgers, it's nothing but impressive. He looks fired up. He's changing the culture there, and it scares the living you-know-what out of me as a Dallas Cowboys fan.
At 1, I have Mike McCarthy. He is winning with Cooper Rush, which is not something that he should be doing. And they're sitting at 4-1. They're America's team. Nothing can go wrong.
Look at the NFC East. Look at the NFC East.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Not me. Not any of us.
Look at us. Huh? Hey,
Yeah.
Vincent, thank you very much. Go enjoy the baseball game.
Thank you for not spoiling the baseball game.
And let's get you out of here so you can watch the baseball game.
And let's get us out of here so we can go tailgate with Delco Steaks for a big game Sunday night. This is what the show is for. It's for This is what it's all about. Oh, when that music comes on,
That's the wrong one. That's like the NFL one. That's not even the Sunday Night Football song.
I think they still do it.
Okay. Can't wait
It
to
all
be
counts.
watching Jason Garrett on the pregame show.
Oh, God. Is he on?
Yeah, he's so good. He's actually been really good doing Notre Dame games.
Really?
Yeah, I enjoy him.
I
Yep.
guess honestly, I guess I haven't watched Notre Dame yet this year,
Oh,
which
there
is
you go.
odd. But
How about that?
none of that. Birds versus boys. Birds
Hey,
versus
week.
boys. Birds versus boys. This is the week. This is the week. I'm so excited. Let's do it. I am so. If this gets to 6-0, and the Phillies advance, no one's allowed to look at me without kissing my feet first.
I do a podcast with this idiot. I'm married to an Eagles fan, and now I have a child whose fandom relies on this. I cannot have this damn team go 6-0, beating my team, and then have to deal with my wife and my podcast wife all
That's
next
me.
week. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it.
That's
Nope.
me.
Can't happen. Can't happen. But you know what can happen? You out there watching, listening, and telling your friends to follow Birds vs. Boys. We appreciate Jay Tuck for coming on. We appreciate Mike Tag having us on his show. Again, sorry to flip in the Birds. We will be on later in the season. But make sure you listen anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Birds vs. Boys on TikTok as well as Twitter. It's hate week. I hate you.
Love you too.
Hate you.